Inside the program this morning, Electricity Distribution and Supply Authority, EDSA, don't increase electricity tariff from 11 to 23 new leones per unit, over cent per unit, over 1% increment, over 100% increment. We will actually discuss the effects on the people this morning. And the guests that we're getting at the studio this morning, we get Alfred Kaima, Head of Economic Regulations. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
And in common at the Sierra Leone Electricity and Water Regulatory Commission Council. Sir Nepal, Communications and Community Relations Manager. Sir, good morning and welcome.
Good morning to AYV and good morning to viewers out there.
And same way, so we get Lawrence Williams, the media analyst. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
Well, Elizabeth, I don't know if you don't buy lights recently, but if you follow social media, a lot of complaints and people they do skin grab or even snap the paper we go buy, tariff, and they put on social media. And so we think this conversation we need to get a little people understand how we reach to this point and what it mean, for the ordinary person we get for buy electricity. So we get the gentlemen there today. We'll start with the Electricity and Water Regulatory Commission. There was a statement earlier which say EDSA don't request, say they want adjust the tariff, they want increase. On our old meeting, on our call for meetings, on our old meetings, then very recently, on a pull another statement say, on don't agree, and the thing they come into effect on the first when a Sunday we pass. So, how we reach to this point, for agree, say, indeed, the tariff calls for go up.
Good morning once again. Before EDSA apply for tariff, they can normally send a letter to the Director General of EWRC. They propose say they want for increase or they want for adjust the tariff. When they do that, we as a commission and the regulation department, we can normally send an Excel form, but then they give you all the data them. So when they fill the form, then they, as an economic regulation department, we can go through what we call a prudent test on all the data, whether all the figures that they give we are correct. So we can go through the process and we crunch all the figures and they will see how the tariff arrive at. After which, we acknowledge that letter to them. We will acknowledge the letter with the gazette to the public in 3 major newspapers. Say, EDSA not propose a tariff adjustment. So we not gazette to the public. It take another like 21 days for them to get public opinions, public comments. But the essence where they do that thing for ensure transparency in the country. So we do that 21 days public comments. We get all the public comment there. From there we do what we call public hearing. The public hearing can attract a lot of stakeholders there. Drivers union, labor, consumer protections, business people, market unions, a lot of stakeholders within the community, even the board commissioners there, they can all day on that public hearing there. The reason being why we do that now, we want to show a kind of transparency in this whole process. So now we give EDSA the opportunity for can do a presentation to the public. Why make the one for increase tariff, or why make the one for let the tariff adjust? So during that public hearing day, EDSA do a presentation to the public where they show say prices don't go up, the dollar not depreciates against the leos not depreciate against the dollar. Market prices, fair prices will go, and EDSA not to actually they generate electricity. EDSA in just a buy. We get people like Car Power, AGTC, and other IPPs when they produce, when they generate electricity. So EDSA in a buy no more, you go buy from the people they can sell. And from the time we actually do the last tariff approval for EDSA in 2022, now be 60 cents. But because of the leons, the dollar not depreciates. The value of that 60 cents it dropped to 11 cents. You can imagine from that time to now, how EDSA will manage to survive. So they say, you know, reach a time now, the money where they call revenue requirements, where they take them for let them operate, you know, enough again for let them operate. So they come back to we as a commission. And the commission, the law maker, possible for EDSA say, it's any time where utility to go what they call experience what they call financial hardship, the commission get right for look into in case and adjust where continue to provide. Because we as regulation, we responsibility, we not referee. We always stand in between the producer, the service producer, and that of the consumer for strike a balance. So we'll look into that data, then at the end of the way, we decide on the tariffs. So the public hearing happens. Some people they reject, say no, this is not the right time. This for increased price. After we EDSA explain all the economic challenges in terms of inflation, exchange rates, this and that, the cause of fear, they don't explain. They say no, they reject. But considerable numbers of people really say, well, we will accept this tariff on the condition that EDSA provide a good quality electricity. We don't foresee any blackout again. So we take all the comment and they will call what you call transcribe. We take all the comment and we file them and we present out to the board for let the board make a decision on it. It was a very tough decision for the board to take. But at the end of the day, the waiting actually, the EDSA be proposing at 23 cents, the board end up for make sure say they reduce them by 2 cents. So the tariff, waiting we propose, and based on what we calculate, we arrive at we cap and say no, this is too boku for the people there. It's too timely for them to get that kind of tariff. So they still cap out. And any one reduction of that 1 cent, it will make EDSA a loss a tune of $5 million. So that 2 cent reduction from 23 cents to 21 cents, EDSA will lose up to $10 million. We arrive at the 21 cents, we're at the average tariff. So the board will take that decision, say, and shall say this, okay, this one will be reasonable, at least for let EDSA not shut down. Because now they buy electricity. And that the people who they buy electricity, now in Leone say they buy. But when EDSA they go buy, now in dollars. And the dollar, may you know, say, it gets a lot of challenges today. So they take that decision, say, okay, well, this could be enough. Let the people say, no, bear too much a body, the EDSA say, no, go out of the business. So we arrive at 21 cents when at the average tariff. As we go along, we'll give a breakdown.
Then, who are the people who want to engage? Now, that town hall want to get a free talk no more, or want to go across the country for get the views and perspective of people? Because EDSA not only they operate in a free talk.
Of course, we do a major town hall in Freetown. They'll also do a radio discussion right across the country. In fact, we'll be even the other partners that be EDSA also be the go around, they do similar sensitization. Ministry of Information also be the help we on similar sensitization for ensure that people they actually understand the constraints and the challenges we EDSA they go through. So we do a tour, 2 radio discussions, but the major town hall actually are Freetown with one.
And now that meeting, the people in say one of the people in one of the videos that we may see, now the person from Labour Congress,
yes,
we warn and say no. If you look at people earning the economic power, the salary, and at this time for increase tariff, EDSA tariff, will be very difficult and challenging on them. And then concerns them, they how able, listen to them concerns them, because Labour Congress generally will talk for workers in the country. And like remembering they say, all length here they talk about inflation, exchange rates, but the salary of people still remain the same.
Yeah, naturally nobody no for accept any increment. Nobody. Mrs. Was not accept any increment. But let's face the harsh reality. EDSA for we will expect for even come before by now, because we know the challenges we don't take when it comes to inflation and other things. But that's the view of the people. We just look for acceptance. That makes us as a commission, because the commission make provision for that. You have to listen to the
so
people.
That's not enough for Leone reject, say no, EDSA, this time around, we not think, say, the economic situation, ideal for Leone increase tariff?
If you reject the proposal of EDSA, and EDSA not going to pay car power for produce electricity, then you go into blackout. What do you say?
what do you say about people not wanting it? Because we not get responsibility for protect the consumers.
Yes, the same people equally say, the same people equally say in that public hearing say, it's better for let the service day than you know they at all. Then at the barest minimum thing we think of. They say, well, to the worst, let the service day. On the condition that EDSA improve on the electricity or avoid too much blackout, because it don't make sense. You will pay so much money, they see the kind, and then will make use of the money, you still get blackout. So that's the strong condition where they give to EDSA. But on the average, they put their safety, let the service available.
With regards to the public hearing where you mentioned, and you also mentioned ONA being the referee between EDSA and consumers as well, and ONA did it for protect the interest of consumers. Now with the proposed increased tariff where the proposed adjustments where EDSA come up with when for be 23 cents, ONA actually cut them down to 21 cents. It's the 100% increment. How ONA they able to determine other invoice stronger? Because if ONA gets the side of the people and as well that of EDSA, and you say there are others who actually frown at the proposed adjustment, how ONA they able to determine or get the final say, and how ONA they do the negotiation? Because this is all in favor of EDSA.
Well, it could do in two ways. It did in the favor of EDSA, also it did in the favor of people. As we go along, we can see the category of the tariff, how we do them. Because we as a commission, just like I say, we always protect the interests of the consumer and also the service provider. We're in between. Because we make sure, see, while we make the people better off, we will try as much as possible, we make the service provider not worse off. So we'll always strike a balance. We'll make sure, see, this money will provide and this person will enjoy the service at the best possible time. So now that always we can come in. So the board, and then at the master sabi, and then they decide, okay, we can get the public comment, we will not do your own part, do the calculations, but the board in their own wisdom, they can sit down, they look into the case there and decide for come up with the actual tariff. So now that the board actually did. And the board did it in the interest of the people of Sierra Leone, and also make sure say EDSA not go out of the business. We'll continue to provide a quality service for the people of Sierra Leone.
So, Nepa, what's the advantage to EDSA, and also I want you take into consideration that as well of the consumers, because even when we don't see the proposed adjustment now, even though it starts on the 1st of October, the quality of light or the standard is not so commendable, and of course we still get blackouts in these areas. So how you understand for gain, and how you think the consumers will benefit from all this?
Thank you very much for bringing me in. Of course, we don't hear from the regulator. We don't highlight barrage of methodology we then use for arrive at within an IVAT. But let me make it very clear. Even within the IVAT at EWRC, still get a negative effect on EDSA. That's the fact. That's the reality. Remember, say we will make the application to them in August, and the time we make the application, we make the application for 23 US cents, and immediately we make the application. Not even less than 4 days, we get a hike in the inflation as well. So the exchange rate don't move from that time we will make the request. So now, just imagine 23 US cents, how we make the application. Now exchange rate is almost 25, I would say. So we are still behind. The harsh reality is this. You know, even the last time we didn't make the adjustment in tariff, as you say, they will approve 16 cents. But immediately they approve 16 cents, they think it fall back, it comes to 11 cents, US cents. So just imagine we be the collect 11 US cents from customers then we be the pay car power at 21 US cents at that time. And even at 21 US cents, it depends to the season. It's seasonal. Because if it's in the rainy season, we take less power from car power. That means to say we pay them less. But if now in the dry season, we even pay them more than that 21 US cents, because we therefore ask for more, and they get capacity charge, they get other composite charges, we constitute them invoice, so they send to it. So now, yes, of course, as you say, we make the application to EWRC this time around, based on some exogenous variables. I will highlight them here. One of the driving factors we could make the application to EWRC was the fact that we record depreciation of the leons as against the dollar. And that drill down into this. Now, as I say, we collect in leons, then we pay in dollars. For instance, last year, if we tender, let's say in the old leons, you tender 50 billion leons. Then you convert that at 11 US cents. Who will be the collect from the people? It gives around 4.3 or 4.5 million dollars. Yeah. Currently, if you take similar amounts, that was a 50,000 years. If you take that particular amount now, you convert them you convert them at the current exchange rate. It gives you around 2.3 million dollars. So you see the differentials, and who's going to sort out that differentials? Obviously, it's EDSA. And the question will come again: how are we going to generate revenue to close that differentials? It's going to be very difficult for us because we collect in leons. We have to convert the leons into dollars, and we all know the challenges in even secure dollar now. We get 3 sources of generation. We get car power. We get
so the agreements, quickly, I want to clarify the agreements we EDSA gets with Kappa or the other IPP them now in foreign currency when they pay?
Yes, of course, because they're in foreign currency, not in euros.
Okay.
We pay them in foreign currency.
Mm-hmm.
Since the start of that agreement, that's how the methodology is. We pay them because they're investors. They don't deal in euros, and most of the operational expenses they get for buy fuel out of this country, they get for buy lubricants and other things they will for generate and drive electricity. So that is one component, as I explained. Another one is inflation. From last year, as Kaima said, we didn't increase, we didn't do an adjustment in tariff. We don't record an inflation. From last year to now, it's about 65% inflation we don't record. And the fact here is, most of the network distribution infrastructures, we don't buy them. We don't buy transformers here. We don't manufacture poles here. We don't manufacture cables here. We don't manufacture every panel here. So every bit of materials we use are being manufactured out of this country. And we all know this is not just about Sierra Leone. This is a global issue. It affects every country right now. I mean, there is an economic downtime everywhere. So we know, say, for us in Sierra Leone, we don't record an inflation over 65%. What mean to say, if you buy transformer last year, let's say 1 million euros. Now, if you go for buy the same transformer, you buy 1.7 million euros or even more than that. So that is to tell you that inflation don't increase at that rate. Also, another variable way we ask for an application to EWRC. Now, high increase in IPP tariff. And why high increase in IPP tariff? Now, because now the IPPs we don't see fuel from last year to now. We don't see fuel don't increase more than 5 times. If you serve more than 5 times. And the IPPs they use fuel for generate them power, fuel, HFO, and also lubricants. All that they don't go up. So most times that composite fees already used for fuel, for lubricants, for materials, for generate. It gets an effect on the invoice when they send to EDSA because of the plats, the way the formula for letting calculate for reach the invoice. It already if there is a trend in the change of fuel price, of course, it therefore affect the invoice. If there is a trend in the change of the lubricants, it therefore affect the invoice. So all that they get a multiplying factor where it come now to we as EDSA as invoice only for honor. And we don't talk about. I believe even Lamar now he wants electricity. As we see there, if there was no electricity, we not foresee there. Now because electricity is very important. So therefore, we as a sector from last year, immediately we EWRC adjusted tariff. We also record hike in. The economic environment, the prevailing economic environment will not be too good for we as EDSA, but will not be even asked for an increase at that adjustment at that time because we think we just don't request for an adjustment to EWRC. So from last year to date, we have been suffering as an authority. We don't break even because the money we collect is too small for even pay with IPPs. Not talk for even maintain with operational expenses. We all know we collect, we pay IPPs. We get for maintain the network. We get for cut wires. We don't ask for money for that. We get for blown up transformers. We don't get for ask for money. We all don't see residents of Freetown and other siding and the provinces, they vandalize EDSA infrastructures. They go to the cut cable, they vandalize transformers. I mean, all of that, we need to go again and ask communities for let them pay money, for let me reinstate them facilities. It's all on EDSA, and it's all on the revenue, the meager revenue they collect. So you see that we don't manage in a very tight environment for ensure say we deliver the services to the people. So therefore we think to say at this time the thing don't so press you to a stage that if we don't ask for an adjustment, we run out of business. And you know, even when you run business, you want to make profit, and at the lowest thing you want for break even, get dividends of what you. But let me tell you, EDSA, for letting you even break even is the problem. And also, some of the challenges with that is that you get people where they continuously and persistently, one, they vandalize, two, they thief the electricity. I mean, often or not, recently you don't see on social media, we go to our communities, we apprehend people, with the people, I mean, it's a community-based something now. People, they connect, they dig hole, bury cable, run the cable at a very long kilometer, they terminate from one hole to another, they thief electricity. And they do it because they don't have to pay for services. I mean, all of that, but they use the power who they generate. For us, let me tell you, the IPPs, they don't care about that. What they do is they have a metering system from the point of evacuation to the point of receiving. When they don't fix their meters, as they send to me, they know what they record, what they don't send to me. Whether we account for it now monetarily or not, that is not their business. All they know is at the end of the day, those meters are going to be read, they generate invoices and they send to me for payment. So, but from we on end now, customers then get meter, we for measure and for regulate the amount of electricity they consume. Then they go to the fidgeter meter, then they divert the settings of that meter with the objective for letting them pay for electricity. At the end of the day, it all comes back to EDSA because the IPPs don't care about that. They don't want to know about that. We have to be at the cost for let we pay them, for let we continue for generating. And exactly, you prefer electricity to blackout. So we as an authority will say no. At this point, let us make an application to EDSA. Yes, we did make an application to EDSA for 23 US cents. So what did they do? In fact, as management, as we make the application, and every 4 days, they will record hike in exchange rates. But there's one of we will do nothing. We allow them as commission, the Electricity and Water Regulatory Commissions Act of 2011, sections 45, subsection 1, give them the mandate for let we make application to them, for let them review them and let them agree on which the things say is right. Mind you, both EWRC board and EDSA board, there is consumer representation who did it. So what did they do? On their own end, and even before we send the application to them, I mean, the consumers we are taking into high esteem. In the conversation, the representation did it, then discuss and say, no, let's take into consideration the man who did run away, he wants electricity no more. Probably for still before himself, for study, for charging mobile phone. So all of that, all of those components we are taking into consideration. And to the end as EWRC, when they finally receive the application from EDSA, then look at them, then commission look at them, then also do what they call engagement. Then go to the provinces together with we. We had an engagement all over the country. We inform people and say, this is the application we've made to EWRC. EWRC is looking at it, and then get the methodology. Then also include, then get discussion with state actors, like you say, drivers union, traders union, consumer protection council, consumer protection units around the country, and they discuss. And the final discussion point was the public disclosure, of which I was there. We went there as management. We do, of course, when I go and see the presentation, a fantastic presentation we'll make as EDSA, we will justify the reason why we make the application to EWRC. And in the conversation, I mean, if you take them on average, let's say 12 people and talk, let's say 7 out of 12, I mean, no see then there's a need for let EDSA do an increase or ask for an adjustment in the tariff. But they say what they want from EDSA is for EDSA to improve on its services.
With this adjustment, with the adjustment in the tariff, how consumers then stand for gain or benefits? Because even with the rainy season, where you mentioned, when they pay less to car power ship and all, there's not that constant or consistent light or electricity.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that question. Nadab can also. Yes, I know I will a bit disagree that there's not constant light. I would say for the past 1 week, yes, of course, we would only get some challenges in the evacuation of electricity to everybody in Freetown. But again, what is important for us and for every utility all over the world is when there are challenges. I mean, EDSA is not the only one who face challenges at times with electricity. It happens all over the world. It happens in Kenya, it happens in Ghana, it happens in Zimbabwe, it happens in Uganda. It happens all over the place. There are times where the utility can experience technical challenges. I mean, these are things that are inevitable. They're bound for occur. So what is important is when they do occur, the utility get the responsibility for adequately inform members of the public for say, yes, this is where we are now, but this is what we're doing to move from where we are. And I believe so we do them as an authority. In the last few days, when we experienced technical challenges for lady, as I say, we got three component, we got three generation components. We got car power, we got CLSG, then we got Bumbuna. So we got challenge for the two IPPs, one are car power and CLSG synchronized with Bumbuna. So we experienced some challenges. But what we don't do over the few days, yesterday, even yesterday we were at the place, the experts in Como about the deep and book on the inside the fourth day now. I mean, they are bound to happen. So, and we pull a press release to inform the public. And it's not like there's no power supply. There's power supply, but we get some intermittent supply
commitment.
To the people.
Commitment say with the increase in tariff, like Elizabeth been there asked.
Yeah, and that's the commitment, not a vague commitment. I want to make it very clear to you. Even before we make the application to EWRC, for us as a sector, we plan units. We don't get projection of the issues that we'll get and how to resolve them. So now, if you go to the Ministry of Energy, now you get all the projection of the challenges that we will face in the sector and what is being done to resolve them. So right now, as I tell you, there's some communities that will be experience evacuation problem because of the increase in businesses, the increase in houses so they don't build it, and the high consumption pattern, and the connectivity with the at times not able for regulate, not able for accommodate the kind of megawatts they need. So what we're doing now, if you go like for instance, you go to Aberdeen, we don't build an independent substation at Aberdeen. That independent primary substation, it did it now for insurance, we inject bulk power in that substation. And we'll inject that bulk power in that substation. The substation and they transmit the power to the other secondary substation for onward supply to the houses. So they don't get no challenge. We'll complete that particular.
So you give the public assurance. Are you giving the public assurance?
100% assurance. Let me tell you,
we get uninterrupted electricity supply.
For security?
Uninterrupted electricity supply.
No, Lamrana, except if there are technical challenges which are beyond our
ration electricity supply right now. We don't pay copper ship, we get full supply from.
No, you know, the other day we had an argument on that. If you go, you know, this is something we.
And no, the other day you actually say copper ship not been there off, but the minister confirmed say they go off because you owe them.
No, at the time I was here, nobody off. At the time, what I did at the studio, you're not be off. So if as lawyer, at the time you ask me see if it off, when I know that it on, I don't tell you say it off.
Okay.
So if it on at the time,
so I don't pay them now. So
Kappa ship is up and running. I mean, this is something you can go and validate for yourself. Then they operate. So as I say, we actually EDSA with responsibility for ensuring we take the product to the houses of people, and that is what we're doing. Ensure that we meter. Right now, going at the field. This is to tell you that we are working hard to ensure that we improve the facility. There are people who get bunch producing meters in the system. We get people who what you call unmetered supply. We get people who they get bunch meters. So what we don't do now as a sector, at no cost on them. We don't say, well, even though most of the meters that we fault now at the system now because of human interference, because an attempt for change the setting of the meter just because they don't have to pay for the services. But now we don't take the owners as an authority. We don't procure plenty meters. As our guys are on the field, they change meter rapidly. Anytime we don't record it and get 40 meters, we are changing it. And also we are searching at people's premises for ensuring they are appropriately connected on the grid and do not thief electricity. And as I tell you, if you check some of the releases that we don't get out on social media a few days ago, you will see we don't raid certain places there, and I mean almost all the places that we don't raid, we find them wanting.
Okay.
So it's like people don't take it out as a habit, not for pay for services, for steal electricity. So and that has an adverse effect on the revenue generation of EDSA. So we don't take the responsibility. We're going to change meters. but we're going to be harsh on people. We're going to ensure that anybody who catch who the thief light. Now, we don't the press release. We don't put a press release say if you don't say you get burnt meter, you get burnt producing meter, you get a meter supply. We don't set the infrastructure on our EDSA and all of our EDSA offices. Come to EDSA now and complain yourself. But if you left it up, we EDSA, we go to the premise, we hold you, we discover, say, crime, state crime, it's in the act. So we're going to implement the act to the fullest. So now the public gets the grace period for ensure, say, now they come and report to EDSA willingly. But if we go to the field, we hold you. I mean, we're working with CID and now we don't even write to the military for support. So we're going to places, business places, house by house. If you get a problem, you don't report to EDSA, then it's a man with a problem, then you plan out, you do it willingly. So we apprehend you and we found you wanting, we hand you over to the police and you go through the procedures. Okay, let's bring Lawrence into the conversation. You don't listen attentively, I see they take notes as well. I'm sure you like every other cell union don't begin for pay the new tariff for electricity. Generally, waiting are you assessment of this? NEPA don't give waiting make the increases. We all know how the inflation they go. I read the Bank of Salon, the monetary policy statements this morning. And it say inflation don't increase significantly from 44.81% in June 2023 to 50.94% inside August 2023. That's alarming and very high. What's your assessment generally?
Okay, so I will take it from three different perspectives: the good, the bad, and the ugly. For the good side, EDSA to some extent has a legitimate case in terms of the impact of inflation and the exchange rates as well get for playing your part in all of that one. And so some of the points advanced by EDSA as reasons for the increase are legitimate. But again, people are not actually paying attention to some other factors which we think say EDSA should be held accountable for. So for instance, EDSA, we all know, is both a service entity and a revenue generating institution. So EDSA, they buy bulk from the power producers, them, whether not the IPPs, independent power producers, or car powership, or what have you. Then buy from them, then sell GIWI, they make small profits, then pay, they make small profits. So EDSA is supposed to be a profit-making institution because they are rendering a service and we are paying for it. Nobody knows they do business for losses. If EDSA is doing business and they run at a loss, it means the institution is not viable and we should question the leadership. And how do they run that institution? Few weeks or about a month ago, we learned that EDSA owe car powership about $40 million or more than that. Now, all this while, even though there has been some changes in the exchange rate, inflation as well, don't they run up, yet people have been paying for electricity. And it says something that when they be reversed to 11 cents, then be they sell you 11 cents, now then be they full up the money. Mm-hmm. My question is that EDSA no will subsidize electricity for we. They don't even have that mandate to do that. So outside them they pull that money there for say that they cover for we. Are they actually subsidizing for us? No. So they need to explain to we how them they pull that money, they outside them they pull that for cover for we. Then again, why is it that, come on, we, after then we renegotiate the contract in 2018, then cut and down and what have you, popularizer and all of that stuff. Why is it that EDSA come about for car powership that much as $40 million? That exorbitant amount. A report by the Ministry of Finance, we didn't do it was published this April 2023, on the debt and loans of state-owned enterprises, government guarantees, loans, and what have you. EDSA the loan and what have you with the under is about close to $6 million, $6.something million. Then trust about 70 billion na GT Bank for pay Kapawa. Then trust about 30 billion na UBA for pay Kapawa, all and stuff than this. So then don't they trust for the pay Kapawa. It means the electricity business is not get profits. Now, why is it that it not get profit? And who are the losses span this? Who are they pay for? Who are the benefits? I will tell you that. Most government MDs, they know they pay EDSA. They owe EDSA pass all. And then they consume electricity pass all. These are institutions which present budgets to Ministry of Finance, approved, go to Parliament validate and approve and the budgetary allocations. Then they allocate money. Part of those allocations, as I was made to understand, was supposed to go towards servicing the debt for Guma Valley, for EDSA and other utilities and services them. But they are not paying for it. At the same time, the Ministry of Finance is not helping us, because when they allocate their resources, they know that they actually inform the public as to which ministry they don't give XYZ amount and for what purpose. Because before every financial year, when I don't present a budget, the budget don't go through the budget hearings and what have you, they don't approve and everything. Inside that budget, what they present, they make provision for utilities, whether na Guma Valley, whether na EDSA and other things them. So if finance they allocate their resources then the MDAs in turn know they pay EDSA, then governments they treat you for so we a big fool. And you have a player, or should I say a ref, government ref, I'm not talking you as a person, your institution, the institution EWRC, where seem to be biased in all of this. In the sense that, of course, they expect government for ref between government and the people. Let's say the government lost that game day. Not possible. They need to call some of these institutions to account. And the odds are big. What is the impact of all this on the people, the economy, businesses, particularly small and medium-sized businesses? That Kolwata, will be buy Kolwata 500, some side will sell at 700, 800, 1,000. Now it don't go up, it don't go past that. Bond water safe now, the price don't add. Why is it so? Because people are now paying huge for electricity and they have to pass that burden to the final consumer. And this, in fact, the tourism sector, not for talk, because it affects them greatly. Hotels, bars, restaurants, they rely on energy to run their businesses. And if they are going to pass this increase to the final consumer, it means there will be more burden on the clients going to those places. And if I get more burden, that means then clients get for reduce. There are people that they patronize, they get for reduce. So they get for the losses from customers then. So it has a huge impact on the economy. Secondly, not so EDSA one, they experience inflation. The inflation, we all, even that mommy self where they sell a market, instead they experience inflation. I tell you, my brother, just a few days back, I was reading a report on revenue mobilization in Kailan district, for example. One of the sides where they get money, now evacuation fees, then charges where they levy on vehicle and transportation of cacao, timber, and other products out of the district. So imagine whether they levy charges on it, so that means that they pass all them burden to the final consumer. Electricity is a very big challenge. Again, EDSA, on the for their own side, we can also agree that the electricity infrastructure, with energy infrastructure in this country, is moribund. They have made some frantic efforts, but a lot needs to be done, especially with the MCC compact, because that money they specifically for come for overall the energy infrastructure and try to rectify this issue once and for all. But we are playing some kind of dirty games, dirty politics as a country. 9 they affect we. And this one una do so gala no I than tell you. All man in the morning, all man they grumble. So now I dey wonder where una say town hall meeting, people's representatives or civil society organizations or what have you. These are allies of government. The real civil society, you know they go support that in the right now. I swear. Like come up and joke. This in the money everybody right now. Imagine household consumption when you expendable income. Household you spend 100,000 leones per month, where at that time they give you something like 41 units. Then they can keep you for at least 25, 26 days a month. Now you have to spend 200,000 leones per month. And the salary you know they grow. The salary remains the same. Now transportation has gone up. A whole lot of things have gone up. People are now constrained. How many people are the thief?
No cancel the EWRC, man. You don't hear some of the concerns. How una they monitor EDSA? Because you say una agree for increases tariff based on the commitment say there will be improvements in electricity supply. How do you keep them to that? How do you get them to keep to that commitment? Because if that was what was agreed at the calls them una get the meetings they una get, then there's a need for commits to that. How una they monitor that?
Yeah, before I go to that question, I just want to do 1 or 2 clarification for your brother. It make mention, say EDSA na a profit-making institution.
I did not say so. I say EDSA supposed to sell and make small profit.
Okay.
As a revenue generating institution, it's both a service delivery and revenue generating institution. That's what I say.
All right. So because by law, EDSA not supposed to make profits for now. If EDSA grow to reach to that level, they will go know what to do next. Well, let EDSA reach to that level. But as far as EDSA is concerned, now revenue that they generate, what they need now revenue requirement, what it will cost EDSA for fully operate, what it will cost EDSA for able to buy energy from IPPs and car powers. That only EDSA need. EDSA need to make any profit so far. Yeah, so then they will not clear that side. These are commitments. EDSA already not making, and we as a regulated body will strictly watch the step of EDSA and monitor whether they comply to that. EDSA fully knows say the commission, the law make them possible say if they don't comply, they get a fine where they pay. But the fine normally could be the last solution. We'll go into dialogue and discuss for make sure say now this will be promised the people of Sierra Leone. And make sure say when they pay the tariff they also and make sure say we provide the quality service. But nobody no go want to pay for electricity, huge amount of money, then they will enjoy the service. So that's the commitment they have made, and we'll pray that, we hope that they will stick to that. We as a commission will ensure that we monitor, going forward from the 1st of October, we will monitor whether they adhere to that. If they not adhere to it, they will bring them to notice, what you promise, we need to put a complaint, because that's why we have a complaint board. We put they don't provide a quality service, put a complaint to the commission, that the commission could call EDSA to a meeting and discuss. So, but the fine can always be the last solution.
Okay. I want to ask again, what's in the system? Una people can complain to una, or una self get a system or una they use, for go around and monitor. Of course,
we get
how long that process did it take before
we get a system. We get the enforcement team. When are the enforcement engineers them? Those engineers they go out and check whether EDSA really they provide the service where they say they will provide, when a quality service. If they don't comply, we get a legal team. We get the head of legal department. We can normally issue a letter to them say, section of so you need to comply with EBC. So that legal team there. They also equally will get an MOU with the Sierra Leone police in case when we want for really do an enforcement. But that's they can say it could be the last solution. We can come into for now. We can do dialogue and show see which they see and they go by.
So take me through waiting at these adjustments when I clearly an increment.
The adjustment we will do, just like I say, the proposal we they send with 23 cents. The commission make sure see they reduce them. Because government say no want too much of this price increase body there on the people. So they try as much as possible for reduce them to 2 cents. We're at the average of 21 cents. Now, as a commission, we get categories of customers then we will get. We get the social bank, we are the poor. The one are the poor and the way government can normally consider. So in situations like this, they can always government can step in. We are the poor level. Before, the proper level will be the pay 1,400 loans. But now, with this new adjustment, we'll make sure that that body not too much there on them. We still shift them to the one that will not see the way we pay. So that proper day, we increase them to 1,819. When I just about 30% increment. But let them not feel too much the pain. You wait another proper line there. Now 25 units. From 0 to 25 units per kilowatt with excess fee, now you consume within a month. If you consume beyond that, then you know automatically don't come on that category. You know kind of what you call the normal ban. When a day normally the bubo jaman a day. So for that you get that 25 units, you get for pay like 65,000 Leone. This 65,000 Leone, it take into consideration the GST and also the service charge. With 11,000 Leones. Their service charge, there are another situation where EDSA expense hotel, like they don't go cut the cable them, they don't cut the transmission of the cable or the pole for rubber, what they call. Now they service charge like it. So normally people they can go say, well, I buy this top over, why me top all this so? Initially in that month, you got to pay what you call service charge. Sometimes they cannot cut that service charge, they get a negative impact on the people them. But now normally we can educate them. So that initial we by the service charge Kididi and GST also they win at 50%. So by the time they minus all the 2 day, you know, which is left now, I did calculate for a unit. So then for the proper, they will get the normal ban we exceed from 25 to 2,000 units per kilowatt. That one they pay 4,220 Leones per unit. Anybody will fall in that category there. Now that is the pay. Then we get the high-end customer from 2,000 a month. They pay up to 4,504. Then we get the commercial, the institution, and the like. So normally, they follow able concentrate on their proper and then normal band they do. But they will really get enjoy at least a lower tariff. We get what you call cross-subsidization of the tariff. We can normally pass some of their body now to their big one. They will not see they go put like their industries, the commercial institutions, you know, so we pass their small body then to them, so that the poor one then we see. So as it is now, even all this tariff increment we do, we find out say the poor one they still will make adjustment for that as a commission, so that the body not go too much there on them. So now that we not do so far as a commission.
Okay, now over to you, Sanepo. You mentioned some of the challenges where when they go through as EDSA with regards having people there maybe for thief lights and all of that. How when they come in for ensure say when they monitor the distribution of the electricity?
Thank you very much. And I want to use this platform for make the people say this is a wake-up call. Now EDSA not going to operate as every day operates. We are now in a new era, a different era. And those days where you could just thief electricity, left buff, nothing else come inside. Gone are those days. Yeah? Because I say from the regulator, even the tariff for them approve, then put conditions for EDSA. They make an in the meeting we get with them. Before them, when they say with the disclosure on within the board agree on, they make it very clearly. And they don't set up a team for monitor we EDSA on the operations. So equally so, we as management, we also go for insurance, we own up to the recommendations what they don't give we. Because as I tell you, they get the powers, they go find we, they go report we, they go do things that we go hinder our operation also. And we don't want to follow ourselves in that situation. And the only way how we pull ourselves from that situation, now for ensure say customer and pay for the services, and also on the own part, we get the much needed revenue for improve on the services. As I say, the plane don't already move. We don't kickstart. We are now on the field. We don't change meters because we don't discover say plenty meters at the city don't become faulty because of human interference. And I mean, this now grace people don't tell us, okay, well, we're not going to go in depth on how we interfere for the meter and well, We are going to change them.
With this human interference, you know, things say staff as well from EDSA involved, because how a common man go actually know how for interfere with these things, or how a common man go actually able for claim poll.
You know, we don't answer this, we don't get this conversation several times on this platform. I mean, we all know, before even EDSA employ technician, if you don't get expertise, if you don't get knowledge in electricity issues, I mean, and not to EDSA at the college, we the breed then kind of people. I mean, we get institutions around, we the breed people. You get OIC, you get other institutions, people they go to the land, they get training in electricity. It's not necessarily that they are working for EDSA. No, we got your staff there, but also for say, you see, plenty of them people don't want that kind of institution. They don't have streets, they don't want people that host, they convince them, say, well, I will do this. I mean, recent case, last week, we get an intelligence. Say somebody, they, na Eastern, where they go meet people them, na their host, and they tell them, say, and they will for reset the meter for you, we need for pay electricity. And they go, they open the meter, they do the diversion at the meter, then you just, if you hear 100 units, you don't need the 100 units. So you go burn current for over 2 months. Down there, at the end of the day. We go, we do intelligence, we go to policeman there, we set them up. Somebody make, let's say, you want me to work for them. We are praying them too. We are live on the act. We are praying them. In fact, you must see on social media. We send the message on social media, we send the names, we do press release on that day. So it's there. So we don't encourage communities. I mean, there are people, genuine people within communities where they pay for the services where they use. So what for make them know say, I mean, it's so enough fine for we then they pay for the services, then they see your neighbor in the thief light, and say your neighbor in the even consume past how they consume when they pay for that. I mean, at the service to the nation. So we don't encourage right thinking members of the public for say, if you see somebody with a thief light, be a whistleblower. I mean, would it preserve your identity? Nobody else knows now you tell me. But we want for let you know say this now a wake up call. We call on every Sierra Leonean. Now everybody is asking for improved services, doing the public disclosure. People they say yes, EDSA as you reform the CSO, even access to the factory, EDSA is doing well, and we're going to build on that. We go for ensure say we say for change meter, we change that. We say for change cable, we change that. We say transformer get issue. We say people that experience low voltage. We are working on them. We know it's challenging. We know it's difficult. Most of the issues they are being generated by individuals within communities, by people who get knowledge in electricity. Yes, of course, you spoke about people working from within. I want to make you know very clearly. I mean, we got ethics na EDSA, we got handbook, we got rules, we got when you go with an employee na EDSA, you sign up to the things you should do and the things you shouldn't do. So staff them, even myself, including me, I know absolutely what you're supposed to do. Which are not for do. So if I do something we're not correct, the book spell out clearly. Issues like abstraction, issues like resetting of meters. If we catch anyone at EDSA staff do that, now instant dismissal. I mean, it's written in the books. So not something we compromise. But we know see, most of the people who don't apprehend were involved in that kind of issue. They are not working for EDSA.
Lawrence gets a very important point about how much they go as well for mobilize resources from state institutions. Some of them, they use electricity past some residential and business places as well. How much they do that? Because we don't, I know we don't get that conversation. Then I have plenty of time to talk about how much they hold.
So yes, I mean, emphatically, the whole point he talk on, I've been listening. Yes, of course, this is not something we would hide. We got people who owe EDSA, obviously.
State institution.
Well, not necessarily. There are few, not necessarily. But I want to make you know, say, as I tell you, the EDSA trading, not to the EDSA now. It's a different EDSA, it's a different ministry. The minister gets a vision and it drill right down for ensure say things happen on EDSA. So now, as he say, the one that we want a state institution them. I mean, we don't write a letter to Minister of Finance and we don't get a dialogue on that day. Be rest assured, not to plenty of them. Most of them we don't solve the issues. The one that we few of them, of course, something is being done for ensure say we get the money from source from Minister of Finance. So as we say, we know the issues where you come up with, and we don't already move past that one.
But then they get electricity.
No, not
everywhere they own now.
What did they talk so? Let's tell you. Like right now, you call me one day say we don't disconnect you building. Not so. We did disconnect you building because there be all EDSA. So if we disconnect you building, we post government officials. Who's not going to disconnect? I mean, we are disconnecting everybody, every business place every institution will owe EDSA because it is their responsibility to pay for services. I mean, we know the compromise on it. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter who are you or who side you have to pay for services. So I have to make the man know say anybody who owe EDSA. I mean, if there are areas we can sit on the table and discuss, you pay in your areas, or if. But I have to make you know say all the one who they owe EDSA, we don't disconnect them. They don't begin to owe up to the responsibility for pay EDSA. And going forward, that is what we're going to initiate. We're not going to encourage. In fact, I make the issue of you having areas now no longer the issue again. Now, what we don't do, we also, based on the minister's vision, we also don't decide now. We know no institution that gets prepaid meter, not get postpaid meter again. Now prepaid. So you buy your top up, you put it, you use it. If you don't have electricity, it's your business.
Okay.
It's your business. So now, in fact, we don't initiate down, we don't fix big, even AMI business, we don't fix AMI meters, we fix meters all over the place. And then meter don't fix. Now you buy your top up, put it in your meter, and you utilize your electricity. If you don't buy, that's your business. Lawrence,
the hope of things getting better, not too much there, because I refer to the document we made this morning as well, the monetary policy statement from the Bank of Salon say, inflation therefore continue until the end of this month. Should Sierra Leoneans brace up with the justification they would get from EDSA, EWIC, if inflation continue, that we will get another increase of tariff?
If you see anything that happen at Ghana right now, for example, the Ghana Labour Union mobilized a nationwide protest against the Ghanaian government on the economic issues there, the economic burden. Now you can imagine, as much as Ghana's economy is doing bad, they are far better than us when you do the comparative analysis. And when you want to do comparative analysis, because many times so I can listen to some people, just inflation all over the world, but they don't take into account the macroeconomic variables. Not only inflation, but look at the country in GDP, in per capita, the money supply, population size, and so many other factors that were necessary for consider when you want to do comparative analysis. They don't take into account all of those. They just say inflation. Inflation on the other side. But we have not been able to manage it well. And we face with a situation where the government is not financially or fiscally responsible for manage the situation. The government is not responsible at all when it comes to fiscal management. That is why our situation is getting worse. And because if you look at our population, but we are just 8 million people. With all the mineral wealth and what have you get. Yesterday I was listening to the bank governor where they make mention, and it talked down there for me. I sense the passion, the vexation and everything. Say from 2002 to almost how many years? 10 or 15 years. We don't export minerals up to the tune of 8.something billion. We not get reach 300 million out of that one day as royalties and what have you as a country. That's an error. That's an indictment on the executive and the parliament, because they formulate and ratified all of these agreements. So governments, past, present, have been very much irresponsible when it comes to economic management.
So we the people have already.
And now we that they pass the burden on to. Even when it comes to this fuel for Lamrana, many times they say, okay, there are some kind of external factors where they influence the fuel cost, where they go influence the electricity cost, but they consume and now they pay for their own consumption. It is wrong. It is wrong.
No,
you have people, you have people who are getting up to 50, 60 million leons per month, government appointees them, where at the same time, governments, they give them fuel cheat, 45 liters per week. How are we going to pay you that money? They will give you fuel back again. Enough for me.
Okay, let's take some messages. We don't get a lot of them. I'll take this first one. We come up from in Mawo. He say, EDSA should show the breakdown on the receipt. If I want to buy 100,000 units of electricity, the extra charges and tax should be added up upfront before paying for the service. If the extra charges and taxes cost 50 leons for 100 leons, the total payment should be 150,000 leons. EDSA should not have the charges and taxes hidden.
Ronald Beresford say there's so much talk with no good outcome for consumers who suffer greatly from power outages damaging their appliances and get no compensation in return, yet you're ready to heap tariffs on customers.
Cherry Baggy say, we cable puel, now your area EDSA they ask kuna back for pay and buy cable and still pay for the job, so we don't need service charge.
Michael Coker say 600 new Leones top up now gives you 135 units. The previous tariff, 500 new Leone, will get you 211 units. God help our people.
Eddie Grant say everything seems challenging at this small country. When we go begin get things them right.
Fode Jana says the increment of EDSA tariff is untimely in my area. My Nkene Calabar town is over 10 months. We're constantly on one in, one out electricity supply.
Fatima Abbas say they are not monitoring well. The enforcement team too take bribe from the people who they caught.
Eddie Grant says up till now our engineering department cannot make common transformers. What's the essence of having engineering or electrical components in our universities? Just to go and speak big grammars.
Moses say for Sierra Leone to achieve its goals in terms of real progress in development, we have to go back to the drawing board. We need a total overhaul in all walks of life, including EDSA, reinvent we culture from bad to good culture, plan well and act sincerely and swiftly to the plan. Only then will we realize the dreams of a better Sierra Leone. If not, talk shop will continue and there will be stories and more stories without needed results.
That's it from my side. Suleiman Amadu says, Nepo, no justification for the increment of the electricity tariff.
Salusi say, the final one say, Lamrana, as I'm typing right now, Kisi community doesn't have lights. We only see lights at night. First thing in the morning, it's gone. But yet still, they want to increase tariff. And mind you, the higher the tariff rates, the higher the stealing of electricity. Well, I think EWRC don't get to answer way una for somebody from Kisi say they don't get light. So it's a binongi commitment say they go give electricity. So I hopefully una go take that into consideration. But you don't hear it from people, you know, una don't town hall, una don't then a radio and get calls. I go imagine if una then a radio now una they take calls, we think will be the response of people. This morning, if you check within people and they say about the tariff, the ratio, you will understand say people are really concerned about it.
Yeah, of course. Just like I say, nobody not ever go and accept within an increment. And that word nobody know why you're in.
So why they call it adjustment?
Yeah, adjustments. We they call it adjustment.
Why don't they call it adjustment? When I
just want for a response to we brother. If they make mention of a lot of economic variables and all the rest. Before ever we do EDSA tariff, we do what we call cost of service studies. We also do regional studies, how other regions, how the electricity day. And this particular tariff, I want for let family know say this now a zero subsidy tariff. It's a full pass-through tariff. In other words, you don't get no subsidy. It's a cost-reflective tariff. Okay, but before that, we don't do a lot of regional comparison. We even do internal comparison between EDSA and that of the mini grid. One the way they use solar energy and that villages them. It will be interesting to see the one the way they did at that village and they pay higher tariff more than we who they use the own grid. So in other words, the poorest are paying more than we would in the city. Now let's look at some of the regional comparisons we make. Like Kevad is over from the year 2022 we approved the tariff. We'll do comparison. Now be 32 cents the own tariff Kevad. Rwanda now be 22 cents. Mali now be 22 cents. Burkina Faso 21 cents. Gabon 21 cents. Togo 20 cents. Kenya 18 cents. Uganda 18 cents. Senegal 18 cents. South Africa 16 cents. Sierra Leone 16 cents. So Sierra Leone and South Africa we are carrying the lowest by them. In July, 1st of July 2022. So because of the depreciation, just imagine, just read one of the exogenous variable way, just go up by almost 50% without the inflation. So see?
We will not take records of all that, they will also take records of the GDP and size of the different country. Yeah?
Now let's come. Like the mini grid, currently, Salon mini grid, they are paying up to 35 cents.
You answer the question with that. You just read we call country.
Well, I don't want to go into GDP business
no, but
now.
if you compare we and Kenya,
That is comparative analysis. You never go take one variable for justify. No.
You know, compare the GDP of Kenya to Sierra Leone.
But you compare them with comparative analysis.
You don't just take one.
Not to think where it's cheap. Energy and something way expensive.
Yeah, but the earning power. But when they do this, they consider the earning power. Like
if you want to be honest with EDSA, EDSA not only responsible for generation. EDSA na buy it, they buy. Now this I don't understand. And when EDSA they buy, now with dollar, not to loans. Me and you two they go buy in loans, but EDSA go for take time for converting loans a day into dollar. At the end of the day, during that conversion, they lost. That's the harsh reality. So EDSA then are in position now. We don't put EDSA in a position for they will effectively and efficiently run this business. So now we could not give them what to call a cost reflector. This now will let you run. This is not get no subsidy. If subsidy come, well and good, that would be good news. But government also not make it clear to EDSA. They say EDSA impose a fiscal risk. So the one that EDSA run in your business by itself. So this is a cost reflective tariff we don't do for EDSA for later on. Because government said that $50 million where they give every year, they can as well give that to free salon, free quality education, and free healthcare. They want for that resources there. So we want to see how this tariff will make EDSA become efficient, robust, and ensure that it provide quality electricity for Sierra Leone. A lot of countries and they don't move away from
If inflation continue, I just say you saw inflation according to the Bank of Salon.
Yes.
Inflation.
If inflation
continue to the end of this year.
According to
if EDSA can't on a back for increase, on the increase.
According to the model, model will not develop. It's a robust model. It's a multi-year tariff. It make a provision for a trigger. When I automatic trigger, we get a monthly, half-yearly, and yearly trigger. So, if the law permits, because by law for now we're not going to do monthly trigger because perhaps maybe they go for revisit and reverse the act back. But if they reverse for ensure say automatic trigger, if EDSA come, then we go for go through the normal process back. Understand, eh? So, but if EDSA come back say, that money wanna be approved for me, you know enough, then we get the master sabi mandate. They will sit down and decide whether the board, whether they for increase or a left. So then you know to me your decision that the commission.
No, but what they ask now that the thing that we make una agree for the EDSA increase in tariff still there around.
Yes.
They can mention the Bank of Salon, the statement say inflation therefore continue till the end of this year. So if that thing and they still there around and EDSA still get for pay the exchange rates, the loans they depreciate, EDSA still get for pay the service providers in foreign currency. Then they can't own the potentially the tendency there for the increase.
Yeah, if we review, we see say it makes sense for adjust the tariff and the people they not go this year blackout. We don't get no option for insurance. Say we adjust the tariff for them so that the people will get the service.
Now, yeah.
So Lamana, I would love to ask you again.
No, you're not trying to ask me a question. No, Nepo, you're not asking me. No, ask the public if you want to ask.
Will you prefer blackout to electricity?
Your responsibility, EDSA responsibility, like Lawrence say, na social services on the
Of course, so
it's your responsibility. So you don't need to ask that question.
We all agree say light na a driver for every social and economic development, every nation. So without electricity, it's going to be difficult. Will you prefer blackout? It's a shutdown by any country.
Nepo, will you prefer to pay for a service? Then you need to get consistently as you forget them.
No, but the fact is, you get electricity. Even as you sit here, we are using extra.
No, you don't sit on our lights.
No, I'm saying no. I'm talking about now and here. We are utilizing extra electricity.
Now this same program, if you are from Kisi, just talk about how they get
it's a concern. You may not know what
so you agree. So you agree.
So I think if you don't make the complaint now, we are going to check. If it's a technical problem,
but you self agree. Say there are communities where they get interrupted electricity, right? You agree that?
The only thing I will tell you is that yes, of course, we get areas that we will face technical challenges which are beyond our control. If it happens, would they require the customer for complaint to EDSA at the experience? Most times when you get a problem, you call me. People will go and check. If they for resolve, and then resolve immediately. You know that. So we are not magicians. We're not going to
I've been on time for the call.
We're not going to our office. We just know the Lamana get problem. If you report to, we don't want to wait we identify them, we solve them. But we also expect the public for report to we on issues them, on challenges that they face with regards to supply of electricity. For instance, there are areas you can get low voltage just because of corrosion on the line. That's a minor problem. Corrosion
so only when citizens they make reports before
I say the ones we are able to identify, we will resolve them. But we're not going to identify all at the same time. So we also call on members of the public for also bring calm the challenges to we. If you get issues with lights, you call me. I can send the team, they go check. If not corrosion, it's easy. They resolve them. If not panel problem, they resolve them. But like I get Lamana, somebody talk say we cable poil, EDSA they ask for money back. I mean, that is absurd. We don't talk on here. I mean, if it's someone the customer in the back, then our accomplices, I will talk on this platform again. Because we said it, if you get problem, you know, EDSA staff will ask for money again. If you ask for money, complain the EDSA staff. But I don't get a customer who call me say, somebody can ask for low give money. Answer go down another person. Send me, snap and send me in details. And that was the end of the conversation. So how would you expect EDSA to make any legitimate case?
We need for close.
When you know for send the issues. Again, somebody talk about when you put 100,000 euros, what you will get taxes. On the current tariff, Landmark and Regular, as me brother say, it's 30% adjustment. On the current, let's say last year, the previous tariff, if you tender 100,000 euros, you will get 47.9 kilowatts. If you don't get no additional expenses. But on the current adjustment, we don't do. If you tender 100,000 euros, you bound for get 32.57 kilowatt hour.
Okay. Well, we want to say plenty thank you to all our gentlemen inside the studio. Of course, we don't talk this morning about the increased electricity tariff from 11 cents to now 21 cents.